So today is I think it's day 11, and what I've been doing is going through the five Buddha mandala, and the reason behind that has been that well, in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which is the instructions from Tibetan Buddhism about what to do after after you die, we have this thing called the bardo, which is the state after death, and you get faced with these visions coming towards you, and some of them are Buddhas, and some of them are kind of more pulled back towards ordinary existence or our habitual way of doing things. So with Amitabha, who's the red Buddha, it's a choice really between moving towards the bright red light of compassion, or moving towards the dull light of desire. So So what the verse says is, "Hey, noble one, listen without wavering. On this fourth day, the red light that is the purity of the element fire dawns. At this time, from the red western world of Sukhavati, the red Lord Amitabha, infinite light, appears before you, seated on a peacock throne, carrying a lotus. In union with his consort Pandaravasini, attended by the male bodhisattvas Avalokiteshvara and Manjushri, and the female bodhisattvas Gita and Aloka. A group of 6 Buddha deities in a background of rainbows and lights. The red light of the discriminating wisdom, purity of the conceptual aggregate, red and piercing, dazzling and clear, adorned with drops and droplets, shines from the heart of the Amitabha couple, precisely penetrating your heart centre, unbearable to see with your eyes. Do not fear it. At the same time, a soft yellow light of the Preta realm shines before you, penetrating your heart in parallel with the wisdom light. Do not indulge in it. Abandon clinging and longing. At that time, under the influence of fierce passion, you panic and are terrified by that brilliant, energetic red light, and you want to flee it. You feel a liking for that soft yellow light of the Preta realm. So the Pretas are the hungry ghosts. You could think of them as states of addiction, and you approach it. But at that time you must fearlessly recognize that brilliant red, piercing, dazzling, clear light as wisdom. Upon it place your mind, relaxing your awareness in the experience of nothing more to do. Or, again, be gladdened by it with faith and reverence. If you can recognize it as the natural energy of your own awareness, without feeling faith, without making prayers, you will dissolve indivisibly with all the images and light rays, and you will become a Buddha. If you do not recognize it as the natural energy of your own awareness, then pray and hold your aspiration for it, thinking, "It is the light ray of the compassion of Lord Amitabha. I take refuge in it. It is the tractor beam of the light rays of the compassion of Lord Amitabha. Have faith in it. Don't flee it. If you flee it, it still will not leave you. Don't fear it. Don't be enticed by that soft yellow light of the hungry ghost realm. It is the path of the instincts of the sins you have accumulated by your fierce attachment. If you cling to it, you will fall into the hungry ghost realm. You will experience the intolerable suffering of hunger and thirst, and it will be an obstacle blocking the path to liberation. Without clinging to it, abandon your instinct for it. Don't long for it. Have faith in that dazzlingly bright red light. Aim your one-pointed will towards the Lord Amitabha couple and make the following prayer. When through intense desire I wander in samsara, on the luminous light path of discriminating wisdom, may blessed Amitabha go before me, his consort Pandaravasini behind me. Help me to cross the Bardo's dangerous pathway and bring me to the perfect Buddha state. By praying in this way with intense faith, you will dissolve into rainbow light in the heart of the Lord Amitabha couple, and you will go to the Western Pure Land, Sikhavati, and attain Buddhahood in the body of perfect beatitude. Okay, so there's a lot in there really, so let's try and explain it a little bit. So here's a picture of Amitabha. So Amitabha means infinite light, and there are 5 Buddhas, and each Buddha is a different colour. So Amitabha is associated with meditation. He's got his hands are in the meditation gesture, and he's associated with faith, and is associated with compassion, and he has a particular wisdom, which is the wisdom of discrimination. So, and he's linked with meditation. So in meditation, we can think of how's that linked to discriminating wisdom? Well, we stop and we become aware, and then we're able to look at our situation and see whether aspects of it, our body, our feelings, our mind, which includes emotions, and our views, our dharmas, are in line with reality and are going to lead to happiness or suffering. So, you know, we can look at our body and see whether it's tense or not, and if it's tense we can learn how to relax. So relaxation being like that, it's like opening a fist, something we actually do with our body, with the condition of our body. And you know, our mental state. So are we getting irritated? Is that going to help people? Is it going to help us or others? Or are we being kind towards ourselves and others? So I'm just going to pause for a minute just to collect my thoughts a little bit. Okay, so what is desire? So desire is, and what is faith? So these are things associated with Amitabha. So desire is an emotion and faith is an emotion. So, and emotions are wanting, often about wanting something. You know, we want a new computer, we want a new car, we want the latest iPhone, and that wanting, that emotion, it comes about through a reason. It's not random. So the Buddha said that everything arises in dependence on conditions. That's his central teaching. Everything, absolutely everything, arises in dependence on conditions. So our emotions arise in dependence on conditions. So what are those conditions? Well, in a Buddhist scripture called the Satipatthana Sutta, which means the foundations of mindfulness, the Buddha talks about four objects of mindfulness, or four kind of domains of mindfulness: body, feeling. So feeling is just pleasant or painful experience. Mind. So mind is the active side of our psyche. So it's everything that's kind of moving and responding. So our thinking, our emoting, our attention, which goes to one thing or another. So this is all what we call chitta, or mind in Buddhism. And then finally dharmas, which I see as views. So the way that we think about things. So these are the four possible conditions that we have to work on any other condition. So if we're looking to work on what we want, we can work on it through our body. So if we start to become, we work on our relaxation, and or make our body a bit. We might stimulate our body as well, so that it feels really. If our body feels really good, then we won't be trying to want something else to fill the hole that is our body not feeling very good. You know, so if we can really look after ourselves, then we can reduce the wants that we have that are a bit neurotic, or the wrong thing. You know, we want something and it's just a substitute for the real thing. You know, so the real thing might just be, well, is often, we need to look after ourselves, look after our body, get enough food, exercise, sleep, all that sort of thing, kind of self-care. And then, you know, we won't want as much, we won't be so compulsive about what we want. And then feeling. So feeling is pleasant and painful, pleasant or painful, or neutral, or neither. It's just an experience. Feeling is just experience. It's not emotion. Emotion is the response to experience. So if we see somebody that we see as an enemy coming towards us, or, you know, it's painful. You know, so that is feeling. We see them, it's painful to see them, but the pain is only arising because of the emotion, which is we don't want to see them, we're averse to them, we want to avoid them. But if that aversion wasn't there, the pain wouldn't be there. So that's just feeling. So if we work on our emotions, we can actually improve our feeling experience. But yeah, so if we don't act on what are called worldly feelings or unskillful feelings, then we don't create addictive patterns or aversive patterns that limit our life. Yeah, so that's how we can work on emotion through feeling. But the important one, I think, is views. So if we think that I've used this example a lot with the loving kindness meditation. So if we think that you know, we're so conditioned in society into thinking of ourselves in a particular role or job or or having some status. You know, Facebook, what's it called? Everything's status. That, you know, what's your status? So it's like, if we're thinking all the time about that, what label we're sticking on ourselves, you know, we're kind of treating ourselves as an object. So we're seeing ourselves as an object, and that's not the case. That's not what we are. So what we are is a human being who's makes mistakes, who's fallible, who doesn't know what they're doing half the time, who needs to feel loved and appreciated often, and feels sadness, and, you know, feels joy. So if, you know, if we connect with all that, if we relax and just connect with that, then it's natural that we will want to, like, look after ourselves. We will want to give ourselves what we need, to the extent that we can. And it's like that with others. So if we think, oh, so and so, he or she, they, you know, they suffer, they struggle, they're confused, you know, they don't know what they're doing. We will want to help them. So I think it's just through, we get, you know, in Western society we've got so much into progress and technology and toys, you know, that we forget the important things. We forget the important things about humanity, you know, what we are, and we want to show each other our toys and all that. And we forget who we are, really. So, oops. I'll put it somewhere. Oh, I can't find it. There's a poem by Margaret Atwood called "Sad Child," which I thought I'd read out, which is along those lines. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, so I was talking about wanting, about desire, about emotion, and so Amitabha is, if you look at Buddhism in the East, in Japan and places like that, well, that's Japan, China. Most Buddhists are what are called Pure Land Buddhists. So they worship Amitabha and they chant his name. So in Nichiren Buddhism, you know, people do a lot of chanting, and in Pure Land Buddhism, people do a lot of chanting, and it's a kind of, chanting is, in a way, is, which we're going to do some today. Chanting is a way of just, well, we're using our whole body because we're using our voice, and often our emotions are involved when we're using our voice. So chanting helps engage our emotions with things. And what we're trying to do is engage our emotions with some enlightened figure like Amitabha. So Amitabha has a mantra, Om Amideva Hri. So if we keep chanting that, Om Amideva Hri, Om Amideva Hri, and we keep going, Om Amideva Hri, then it's like we're kind of bringing the associations with Amitabha to mind. Thanks, Jai Davies. It's just been posted on the comments, the Sad Child poem. Thanks. Oh, I forgot what I was saying. I was talking about emotion and faith and chanting. That's right. Yeah. So we do devotional practices like chanting in order to develop faith. So faith in Buddhism isn't a blind faith. It's more a confidence. It's our emotions seeing the reason for something. So it's like it comes from the view that this makes sense. You know, what or the image makes sense. So the image of Amitabha, the red image, the beautiful red image in meditation posture, makes sense to our emotions. You know, we go, oh yeah, that makes sense. If you could be like that, if you could have those sort of qualities that image represents, then you'd be happier, and other people would really benefit from you. So it's a faith in Buddhism is about that confidence that comes from aligning yourself with a particular view. So you do chanting, or there's imagery. So up here on my shelf there's an image of a figure called Avalokiteshvara. So Avalokiteshvara is in the same family as Amitabha, and he's got this figure. This one's got 1,000 arms and 11 heads, and in every hand there's a different implement, and all those implements are helping beings in some way or other, giving them something, giving them food, giving them skills, teaching them, giving them inspiration, all sorts of stuff, you know. And the 11 heads that are looking out in all directions. So this is called a bodhisattva, or enlightened being, is an archetypal image which is representing compassion. The idea that if we have compassion, what we're interested in is everybody, you know, what everybody's doing, you know. So Avalokiteshvara not only sees all beings, not as objects, not as whatever status they have or job they have, but fully in terms of everything about them, that, you know, the truth about them, including animals and fish, birds, everything, you know, insects, sees them all and sees how they want to be happy and not suffer, and, you know, yeah, but also sees the situation that they're in, the situation that they're looking to get into or need to get into, which is a more kind of enlightened situation where they can bring about their own happiness and that of others, and he knows how to get them from the first to the second. So what he does is he gives them what they need to get from where they are to where they need to get to. So in his bottom, his right hand, bottom right hand, he's got there's some nectar which is going down from his hand into the realm of the hungry ghosts. So the hungry ghosts are kind of figures who are in suffering, and they're like in a state of addiction. So whatever they take in through their mouth won't satisfy them. They have huge, great bellies and tiny little mouths, and, you know, whatever they take in turns into fire or whatever. So it's a bit like, you know, the addict goes around trying to meet their needs, you know, and it might be work, you might be a workaholic, or food, or whatever, you know, trying to fill their world with a particular thing in order to, in a way, blank out their own real needs. And to get out of that, you need to actually give some real nourishment to that side of yourself. So Avalokiteshvara's hand is giving this nectar, which is actually satisfying the hungry ghost, the addicted type people. So just coming back to Amitabha, so Amitabha has has this land called the Pure Land, and so so all these Buddhists in Japan are all, like a lot of them are Pure Land Buddhists. It's the biggest sect in Japan, and so what Amitabha did was, and you could see this as just like legend, and in a way, sometimes when we have a story that like Father Christmas, for instance, you might think, oh yeah, that's it's just a story, it's just, we shouldn't be going along those, shouldn't be teaching kids stories like Richard Dawkins sort of seems to say. But actually we should, because stories are helpful in they're teaching something. They're often teaching something, some moral message or something. So Father Christmas is just teaching people to be generous, and to bear each other in mind, like at least once a year. And so if you teach kids about Father Christmas, then they start to believe that that's a possibility, that, oh yeah, people can be kind and turn up and go around the whole world giving presents, So Amitabha's story is that he was, before he became enlightened, he made this vow that he said that if beings were to chant his name something like 10 times or whatever, he would guarantee that they were reborn in his Pure Land. And in his Pure Land, it's just a complete happy place. It's called the Happy Land, Sukhavati. So in the Pure Land, basically, you stood in the sea and you say, I'd like the sea to come up to me waist, and it does. Or I'd like the sea to be this temperature, it does, all the birds and just sing, and they sing things that are of meaning. They sing poetry, they sing the Buddhist teachings, and everybody just is being really skillful and with each other and kind and aware. So nobody's there's no hatred there in that land. There's no unawareness really. Everybody's like turning their mind towards what really works in life, and wow, what a place to be, So all you have to do is to just chant his name about 10 times or something. So this is where faith comes in. It's a bit like, well, for it to work, you have to believe it. You have to believe it, just like you have to believe Santa Claus story if it's going to work. So Pure Land Buddhists choose to believe that by chanting, they're going to be reborn in Sukhavati, the Pure Land, and that is going to bring them. And then they're going to get enlightened from there. So that'll be the best conditions under which they can become enlightened. And there are various Pure Land schools, and in one of them there's a teacher called Shinran. And he takes the Pure Land teachings to quite an extreme, really, even to the point where he thinks that even his own faith in Amitabha doesn't come from him. It comes from Amitabha. It's Amitabha's gift to him. So, and I think what this points to is that sometimes we just have to have faith in something beyond ourselves, and give up on trying to, and straining and making effort, what we call self-power, making effort to make something happen. Because often all of that is coming from our own kind of muddy, slightly rubbishy thinking about how things work, that we can create it, And in a way, we just got to get ourselves out of the way and open to something else, open to something much bigger. So open to the mystery of Amitabha. So by chanting, we're inviting in. It's an invitation in a way to let ourselves be completely imprinted and influenced by Amitabha. Yeah, and Shinran, his own attitude towards himself was that I'm not a teacher, I don't know anything. So he didn't have disciples. He just lived in a very simple sort of way, and gave up on any idea of his own progress or anything like that. And it just made him a completely humble person, and therefore I think a completely spiritual person. So he didn't claim anything for himself, and so I think this is something too that we can think about aspiring to, when we're trying to be helpful with people, not to see that it's coming from us or claiming the credit for it, but just to sort of say, well, we're making some sort of effort to do something in life, and it'll be faulty, and but hopefully something of Amitabha will come through us if we have faith, and if we're aligning ourselves with him. Okay, so I've talked quite a lot here. Don't even know what time it is. 8:05. So with these sessions, I've usually done some body work, because to just sit listening to something, to sit meditating, our body just starts to seize up and get our energy just starts to get a bit stodgy. So we'll do a little bit of something to loosen our body up, but it's really important to think that when we're doing this, we try and sort of align it with how we are. So we've been sitting listening to me talking about Pure Land Buddhism and Amitabha and all that, and maybe we've been a bit reflective, so maybe we're already a little bit meditative, so maybe we won't just jump about like sometimes we've done. So let's just begin by just rubbing our hands together, and just enjoying the sensations in your skin, feeling of warmth in your skin. And then just a bit of a squeeze like that down your arms. Yeah. I think in one of the earlier sessions, I made some. I'm often making things up here, but I made something up which was quite interesting. So just put your fingers up, pointing upwards like this, and then just making little circles with your fingers. And can you notice that there's something going on in your back when you do this? So you're having to use some sort of muscular tensing and relaxing in your back in order to hold your fingers up, and just trying to keep your mind and your body together so that your mind is aware of what's happening in your body, and then adjusting how big the circles are or how fast the circles are, so that you get what you want in your back, that you get the energy that you want, not too much, not too little. And stop if you want to. So we're just looking at doing things that actually have an effect. Try this finger. Again, just slow circles. then your little finger, and then just take a few deeper breaths. So just a slow in breath, and then a slow out breath, and then a slow in breath, and a slow out breath. And this time just try to extend the out breath by about a second. So getting the air in the bottom of your lungs out, the stale air. A slow in breath, and the slow out breath. Make the out breath a bit longer, 2 seconds. 2 seconds longer than the last. And then just let that inform your breathing, so that you're trying to make the out breath a bit longer than the in breath. And then just turning your head slowly to the right. And when you feel you've gone far enough, slowly turning it back to the left. Try to have the sense that crown of your head is rising up with an arrow towards the ceiling. And back again. So, for those of you who've just arrived, we've been doing I've been talking about Amitabha, and I've been talking about faith and emotion and desire and things like that. And I said that we're going to do some chanting today. I explained that a little bit. So we're going to chant the Amitabha mantra. So I'll just do it and just kind of follow, just kind of do it. Well, let's do it together. So just leave it for a bit, so while you pick up what I'm doing. And as you do that, just try to bring to mind. I'll hold the picture up. So bring to mind the Buddha Amitabha, and bring to mind the idea of being reborn in the Pure Land. And the imagery of what the Pure Land is like, you know, this thing of it just gives you what you want, whatever you desire. Something, I want this to appear in front of me, and it does. But everything is skillful in the Pure Land. Everything leads to happiness. So there's no craving, there's no addiction, there's nothing unhealthy. So, and when we're chanting for something. It's good if we're chanting not just for ourselves. It's good if we're chanting for everybody, you know, for all beings, because that's what Amitabha is orientated toward. Well, they're who Amitabha is orientated towards. It's all beings. So it doesn't really work that well if we just do it for ourselves, or or people that we know, or a limited group. And yeah, just relax into this, and we'll do it for maybe 10 minutes, and feel free to just stop and listen if you want to. And then at the end I will post up some descriptions of the Pure Land that you can read if you want to, and maybe sort of do that as a reflection today, just yeah, reflecting on the imagery of the Pure Land. Om Amitabha Hri. 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 Amitabha, Hri. Om 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 Amitabha, Hri. Amitabha Hri. Om 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 Amitabha Hri. Hri. Okay, so I hope you have a nice day, and I'm busy just trying to upload these videos onto YouTube, so if you go to Mahabodhi Burton in YouTube, or find that channel, you'll find some of them appearing up there with titles and everything. So yeah, just share them with people, and let's try and get some sort of healthy Buddhist response going to this crisis. Okay, thank you.